What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm just doing some preventative maintenance on the old shocks, giving them a clean up and hitting a couple of parts with some paint and refilling them. So I figured I'd flip on the old camera real quick and show you guys what I had going on here. Uh, we're refilling them with some Losi. It's just standard 30 weight shock oil. Getting ready to put two together. I've already put two together over here. I've got this one kind of loosely assembled just for people that need to know how to disassemble them. So let's say you got the shock off the vehicle like this. First thing would be to just back off this top nut here. Then you're going to have a little collar, kind of like an indexing sleeve here. Going to pop that off as well. And you got your spring. And then this piece would actually be run fully tight to the bottom right there. You can actually kind of see how it's nice and snug on that one right at the bottom there. So you would crack that open, possibly if needed with a pair of small pliers, just grabbing that edge to prop it open, and then just pretty much back that out all the way. These will be filled with oil, or, well, at least they should be. They are stock shocks, so do not expect too much out of them, which I personally am not expecting too much out of these, even after rebuilding them, because they are just kind of cheapy stock shocks. Anytime you get the economical kits, you can usually rest assured they're going to have cheap shocks and probably plastic drive shafts as compared to some kind of a metal dog bone or whatnot. So anyways, once you got all these disassembled, hit them with hot soapy water, clean them out, get them as nicey nice as you want. Then if you notice on the inside of each one of the tubes here, they're threaded on the interior going down maybe half to 5/8 of an inch. What I do is I just kind of fill up, pretty much just get it to the bottom of that. Kind of hard to see here, so we'll kind of just kind of fill it as we go a little bit, checking each time. I think we're getting close there. Let's get a little more. Oh, overrunning here a little bit. No, we still got a little more to go. So you want to get it pretty close to maybe the bottom of that. You can leave a little bit. See how that's kind of at the bottom there? Because what's going to end up happening is when you reassemble this part with your piston, it's going to end up pushing some of that fluid back out. So don't worry about, definitely don't fill it all the way to the top. I mean, even to the bottom of that thread in there is a little much. And if you notice on the side here, there is a, kind of hard to pick up on the camera, but there's a slight, see that slight bleeder line in there? What that allows is when you tighten this back down and you cycle the shock a few times in and out, it will allow for excess fluid to work its way out of there. So pretty much what we're doing right now is actually I just grab that top part and then just spin the bottom. It's a little easier. Of course, it's not as easy when it's got a bunch of shock oil on it, but we'll get there. So as you tighten it up, you notice it starts to squirt out a little bit there. So let me set this down real quick. Just grab a couple paper towels. Just a little cleanup. So get that wiped down a little bit. And get it kind of snug, but not fully tight. Then what I'll do is I'll actually cycle this in and out a few times. You notice how it's bleeding out a little again on that side there. Kind of hard to pick up. I've got like terrible lighting in here. But I work it in and out a few times, until that any of that extra that was down in there works its way out. Kind of bleeds out onto the sides, so you got to do the old wipe down a few times to really get it cleaned up nicey nice. Okay, so that's pretty cleaned up. Let's see, well, it's still bleeding out a little bit. So let's hit this one or two more times. Let that ooze out. All right. Yeah, see, now we're not really getting anything bleeding through. So now what we do, give any of that wipe down, extend this back out. You're going to reverse pretty much what you did when you grabbed that little edge with the pliers and cracked it open. After I bleed these out, what I do is I grab those and just give it a little snug. And what it is there's a little rubber O-ring that kind of seats it to the shock body itself. So I kind of do that just to try and make it all seat back together. Give it a final wipe down. Oop, gets a little fuzzies off of there. And there you go. See how there's no leaks around that edge now, but it's got the oil in it. So now that we got that assembled and filled, tightened down, you're going to throw your spring back on. Don't forget your little indexing ring. And if you notice, get that in focus. See how there's that little lip? You want the smaller part to go down like this onto the shock so that that little inner collar fits onto the inside of the spring. And what that does is that just prevents the spring from riding along the shock tower body itself. So let me grab our little Arrma spacers, make sure our little logo is the right way up. Set that down there like that. Kind of have to have a little hand strength for this, but I'm pulling everything down and holding it like this, pinching it, and then that way you can get access to those threads without much of an issue. Thread that on. And this doesn't have to be tight at all. I mean, run it down to the bottom of the threads, maybe a little finger snug, but that's about all you really need. And that's it. There's one more rebuilt spring. Give it a couple smushes, make sure it's good to go. No leaks. No leaks on that edge, so we should be good to go. And nicey nice. So, actually, I will throw this other one together real quick. That way everybody can see it in a little faster of a speed. Okay, we got that filled up. I just kind of spread that out a little so that the piston kind of goes down into the oil there a little bit. We'll grab that. Spin the bottom, just because it's a little easier for me personally. And as we do this, any of that excess will flow back up out of that little channel. So we grab our handy paper towel, give this a couple workings with the paper towel right there, just to absorb whatever is going to come out. Little wipe down, clean the fuzzies off. Give it a couple more. Looks like we are good to go. No leaks on this one after we work it in. So now we will grab our pliers. Give it that nice little, see if I can, it's kind of hard to see, but let's grab that right on the edge there. Snug it down so that O-ring in there seats down. Just re-verify. Looks good. Final wipe down. Okay, so got that. Let's grab our spring, freshly painted. Grab our collar again. Remember, the smaller part goes down and seats on that inside edge of the spring, just to help prevent the spring itself from rubbing along the shock valve body itself. Grab our collar or spacer. Make sure our little R's are appropriately aligned. Get that death left-hand grip on there. Hold it down. Run that end cap on. Again, doesn't have to be snug, or, well, snug only. Doesn't have to be tight. Just run it down to the bottom of the threads. All it is it's just holding the spring in place. There's nothing structural about it. And there we go. Final shock, ready to go. So we got our two fronts and our two backs. Rebuilt and repurposed. And the blue, I figured why not, because actually I'm going to be painting a new body for this season coming up, and it's going to have some blue and whatnot going in it. So figure we'll get the blue going and get some accents going. All right, guys, I hope y'all have a good weekend, and happy wheeling. We will see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.